You guys in the mood for some spooky stories?
Happy Halloween!
Yeah, so, spooky stories never really, look, it's Halloween, let us enjoy ourselves, but these sort of videos never really do particularly well, so if you're interested, definitely share them with anyone who's interested. Also, on the note of something spooky, we have a Kickstarter. It's doing amazingly well.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for your support on it.
It's actually done way better than what I expected.
Yeah.
Way more. I'll be straight up with you. If you're interested in it, check it out. Links down below, and check out this video that explains everything that's in it. Let's jump into the story, will we?
Well, I guess I should go ahead and finally tell my story. It's not very K, to be honest. It's not in a woods. It was no funds at the time. There are no skinwalkers, goat men, flesh gates involved. As far as I know, anyway. But I feel compelled to finally get around to writing this out. For the record, and maybe so you guys can get some spips out of it. I hate this one. When was this done? 2015?
Oh, Mom. Spips.
Back when I was 17, I lived just outside of Washington, D.C. I enjoyed it well enough for the most part. D.C. is no funds.
Is this killing you?
Yeah, and has a massive homeless problem. But isn't a complete shithole. I was a complete autist in school with depression and shit, and I got kicked out of my nice Catholic prep school due to shit grades. Instead of sending me to public school over in VA, where I lived, my parents decided to send me to a non-traditional school in the city. In addition to school, I had a job at a shitty movie theatre in Rockville, which is just outside DC to the northwest. Now, I was 17 at the time, but I had no driver's license. When I was able to get my learner's permit at 15, I procrastinated due to not wanting to go to the DMV for a whole year. When I finally did get my permit, I did my R's and my driving course and such, but fell into the same trap of not wanting to go to the DMV, so I didn't get my license until I was almost 18. So because of this, and because my parents rightfully didn't want me to drive into DC every day during rush hour, only to then have to go back into Virginia to get to work, I took the metro to school and work every day. If there's anyone else from Washington here, then you might understand my route. I started out on the Virginia side of the Potomac River, to the east of the city, at Virginia Square/GMU Station, which is on the Orange Line. For the purpose of this story, the Orange Line starts in Virginia and ends just outside of DC, to the northeast, and the Red Line starts out northwest, where my job was, and then went down to the centre of DC and end up to the northeast again. My school was about a block away from the Eastern Market metro station on the Orange Line, about 3/4 of a mile southeast from the capital along Pennsylvania Avenue. My job was a little ways away from Rockville metro station. When my shift ended at around 11:15, I had to book it to the metro stop most days. Station closes at 12 Sunday to Thursday, and take the Red Line down to Metro Centre, which, as the name suggests, is in central DC. Switch to the Orange Line, then take the Orange Line to East Falls Church in Virginia, from which I would take the bus or a cab home. I'll put it all on a map. I'll make a post along with this. Sorry, a whole post about this, just setup. But the setup is important. So now that's all established, I can start getting into the story. For a couple of months, everything was completely unremarkable. I had ridden the metro on and off for most of my life, but never this extensively. So I was fine with the whole experience. The only part that ever felt weird to me was coming home at night. During the weekends, even at like 1 AM, people were on the metro. But during the week, when I came home from work, it was very common for me to be the only person on the train, and sometimes even the only person in the entire station. Though I wasn't really spooked at it at all. Well, at least for a while. I always sat up front in the train, like the very front. I liked looking out the front of the train and watching the tracks go by. I'd loved doing this as a kid, and I still did it because I was still a child, even at 17. One night, I was riding the Red Line back from Rockville to Metro Centre. I was the only person in the car, probably in the whole train. I caught the last train before the system closed. I was looking out the front of the train, like usual, when I saw something weird. It looked like a white branch, like birch or something. It was thin, almost spindly. It was pressed up against the wall when I first saw it, as the train's headlights started to hit it. I thought it must have been a length of wire or pipe, but then it moved. It was really quick, not even like twitchy quick. It just suddenly moved out of the edge of the headlights of the train, and I couldn't see it anymore. I wrote it off in my head as being overworked, as cliche as that is. After all, tending to a popcorn machine on a pretty much empty movie theatre is hard work. I pretty much forgot about the incident over the course of the week, due to school and such occupying my mind. And then about a week later, I saw it again, in about the same place on the line. This time, it was on the opposite end of the tunnel, and I got to see a little more of the thing before it moved away. It was connected to something bigger, like a leg connected to a body, which is what I immediately conjured up in my mind. As the train's headlights hit it, it moved away with the same agility. But this time, about 10 seconds later, I saw it again, and it did the same thing. And then a few days later it happened again, and this time all I saw was what looked like a foot before whatever it was scampered off into the darkness. At this point I was freaking the fuck out. I felt that terrible, deep-seated desire to know more start to grow. I started to be vigilant for the weird leg anytime I was on my way home from work. I would see it more and more often over time. Sometimes I would see a little more than the leg. Sometimes I would even see two of the legs. But it would always scamper into the darkness as soon as the light from the train hit it. Sometimes I would see it a few times during one ride. Sometimes I wouldn't. I started trying to record whatever it was. I would take a notepad with me and record between which stops I would see it and how much of it I saw, and if I saw it repeatedly. At one point, it occurred to me to ask the train operator if he saw anything. So one night after I got off at East Falls Church, I quickly asked the operator up front if he ever saw anything weird when he drove the trains at night. I tried not to be a spurg about it, but he seemed on edge when I asked him, even though he replied with a simple, "Nah." Things continued like this for a while, and seeing the thing almost became part of my routine of getting home. I wasn't scared of it anymore. Well, not really, since I was in a fast-moving metal missile, and the thing never seemed to be hostile or anything. Things just continued to go about the same path, until one night shit got fucking real. I was riding on the train, and I was waiting for the leg to show up, but it didn't. I had seen it every day for the past 2 weeks, but there was nothing tonight. I was thinking to myself something along the lines of being sad that the 2-week streak was coming to a close, when I saw them. 2 glints in the darkness. My eyes at this point has gotten so used to spotting things in the darkness due to months of spotting this thing, in addition to years of playing Twitch shooters. So I saw them there, and I knew they weren't normal, but I still tried to rationalise it, even after months of spotting a leg in the metro tunnels. But then they blinked. It was unmistakable that it was a blink that had occurred. I jumped so hard I nearly pulled a muscle in my leg. I could tell that those eyes I saw were entirely black. Black and beady, like the eyes of a rat. Suddenly my fear for the thing in the darkness was renewed. I was on edge for the rest of the ride to Metro Centre. Though I still felt safe inside the train, I was realising the gravity of the situation. There was something in the dark of the tunnels of the metro, and it had taken enough of an interest in me to show up almost daily. That thought followed me to the Metro Centre. Ironically, I felt safer in the station than I did on the train, due to the simple fact I had never seen anything weird in the stations. I got to Metro Centre, got off the train, and waited for my next train. It was then I started hearing it. A soft pitter-patter, not unlike of a rodent scurrying across the floor. I became on edge again. The noise started getting louder, and I started to shit myself more. At the point where it started actually sounding like human footsteps, I said fuck it to myself, and turned around towards the tunnel where my train had come from. I shouldn't have. It was there. Not just legs or eyes. The thing in its entirety. And it wasn't in the tunnel anymore. It was on the platform with me. That thing is something I will never forget. It was like a person, but warped to the point where almost all traces of humanity were gone. It was thin, horribly thin, emaciated. I could see how its pallid grey flesh wrapped around its bones, not even covering the holes in some of its legs and arm bones. It was hunched over, not on all fours, but hunched over like an elderly person, with its legs crumpled down and its arms held in front of its chest, like how a prairie dog holds its arms when it stands up. Its head was completely hairless. It was hung down, so I couldn't make out its face. I opened my mouth to scream, but I just whimpered like a baby. I shouldn't have done that. I think I provoked it. It started to move towards me with a horrible gait. It stayed in its hunched over position, low to the ground, but its legs extended out and it took long strides forward, like crouch walking. Its legs wobbled and twitched with each step towards me. It was obvious this thing wasn't used to walking like this, that it was better suited to crawling along the walls. As it came closer, I started to smell it. It had that pungent, rancid odour of trash in the city. My eyes started to water as I got closer. Speaking of which, it was closing the gap. Fast. When I turned around, there must have been about 150 feet between us. But within 5 or 6 steps, it was only about half that distance away. My stupid brain finally kicked in and put me into survival mode, and I fucking booked across the platform. My stupid idea was to try and outrun it to the end of the platform, then jump across the tracks to the other platform and keep running out towards the surface. My plan got about 1/4 done when I realised it wasn't going to work, because that's when the thing stretched out. I looked over my shoulder and shit myself again. The thing was now standing on its legs, and it had its arms out. I don't know how I only managed to see as much as I did in the tunnel, but what I saw in there wasn't accurately representing the whole thing. It must have been 15 feet tall at least. Its torso was thinner than its femur. Its arms came down to its shins and it let them drag along. And then there was its face. Its face looked like that of a starving man, with shallow skin tightly wrapping around its cheekbones like a corset. Its eye sockets were far too big for its beady little eyes, with the top of the socket jutting out a good 2 inches beyond where the eyes ended, and the mouth was a gaping hole with no jaw to be seen. This thing had reached its full height, and I had just about made my peace with death when some beautiful motherfucker honked the horn of its train that was coming in downstairs to signify to no one that no one could get on. I don't know why, but that horn caused the monstrosity in front of me to reel backwards and let out the most horrible sound I've ever heard before, going down on all fours and scuttling back into the tunnel. I took a cab home that night, and then pretty much every night for the rest of the year. I haven't gone on the metro since. I've moved farther into Virginia, so I haven't been around Washington. But even if I was back there, I wouldn't take the metro again. Even if it meant losing $100 million or whatever. I did some more research. Apparently, there are urban myths of something in the tunnels down there. I also found out about a series of abandoned tunnels, just under DuPont Circle, the metro stop nearest to which I commonly saw the thing. Hey guys, sorry for interrupting your video, but I'm sure you've already heard by now that we have our first ever Kickstarter up and live. It's the Gas Station Tabletop Role-Playing Sourcebook. It's got this many days left. I don't know how many days is left, but this is how many's left. It's a one-off print, so once this Kickstarter's finished, we don't intend to do another print.
Unless there's overwhelming numbers of people that really want it. We intend this to be a one-off thing. We might print it again in 3-4 years' time.
Who knows? But if you're interested, you can check out the video link below that's showing everything in it and everything you need to know about it. Thank you so much for your support and everyone that's pledged so far, and let's get back to the video. And today's lucky winner is this guy. Well done! Well done! To claim your prize, just send an email to neckbeardiacontact@gmail.com. Now let's get back to the video.
What is it with, what is it? Is there something deep into humans when it comes to anything that lives in a cave? You know, the whole concept of a cave
you don't go into dark caves or dark dungeons.
But it's almost primordial.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's almost like a primordial fear of, the dark, I suppose. But the unknown that lives
within the dark.
Yeah. I do think there's something about caves that unnerve a lot of humans, or a lot of people, I suppose. And I don't quite understand why. Well, I do understand why. They're kind of spooky.
Yeah.
They're kind of damp. They're not really that nice places to go. Yeah, when you guys have ever been like in a proper cave, they're kind of grim.
I actually haven't.
Have you never been in a cave?
No, I don't go into caves.
You should go to, you know, the one we should go to. We'll take Ozzy.
I'm not putting my son in a cave.
No, they're like tour guide ones.
Oh,
you know
right,
what I mean?
okay.
It's fine. And there's some like bear caves down in, I think it's Kerry. They're actually quite good.
Oh.
You know, those like gigantic bears.
Yeah.
They're all dead.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they've got loads of skeletons of them in them. It's actually really cool, and you get to see like all the stuff, and they show you like how dark it actually is whenever they turn the lights off on you and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, because I'm gonna love that.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, Megan has to have the nightlight on whenever I'm not in the if I'm not in the house. If I'm away at my mate's house or whatever.
Yeah, and the dog in the bed.
Yeah.
I can't cope.
Yeah,
guys.
Megan's terrified of the dark. It's kind of funny, not gonna lie.
Like I'm definitely one of those people who turn off the lights and sprint up the fucking stairs, screaming as I go to scare off any ghosts that are behind me.
Yeah. Well, look here. If you enjoyed this story, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was worth doing. It's Halloween. Let us enjoy ourselves. Definitely share it with anyone who you think would enjoy this story. And also, don't forget to check out the Kickstarter. There is, I don't know how many days left because we're recording this in advance. There's going to be about 20 days left in and around that.
Something like that.
So, the thing is, you're going to have to, like, if you want it, this is going to be a one-off thing. We're not going to print it ever again.
No.
Check out the video to get an idea of what it's all about, and if that sounds like something you're into, definitely pick it up, because you're probably never going to get it again. Also, if you're not interested in it, but you want to be like a bit of a scalper, you know, and you can just sell it on eBay for like stupid money, because you just can't get it again, you know what I mean? That's an option. I wouldn't recommend you doing that, but like, you know, hey, look,
you can if you want.
Because they're like, you know, there's some like I like, you guys don't even want to know, I bought some RPG books off of eBay that were a lot more than what they should be, but like, you know, again, limited print runs, that's just how the market goes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, check that out, and again, share it with anyone, and also see if you have any like good spooky stories like this. Send us them in emails, because I only really go on like X like maybe once a month, or maybe like depends, once a month,
or write down your own scary experiences in the comments.
Oh yeah.
And we'll record a video for Halloween.
Oh yeah, we could do that.
Of your guys' experiences.
Yeah, have you got any unexplained happenings, any weird events happen to you? What's anything happened to you, Megan? Oh yeah, tell them that one before we go.
What one?
The one about you getting your hair pulled on the thingy in your mum's house. So Megan's mum's house is haunted as shit. Just so you know, like, I mean, like, you guys wouldn't even believe half the stuff. I was
about 14, 15, I would say, and it was during the summer, so I was like, school wasn't on, so I was up at like 3 a.m, which 3 a.m. is the witching hour. But I was up at like 3 a.m. and I was downstairs. I think I was watching like Family Guy or something. I don't know. I was sitting on the sofa, but it was an armchair, but I had like my bum in the actual seat, and my legs over one arm, and my head was leaning over the other arm.
Yeah. So something like
and I had my hair up in a ponytail, and I was just chilling there, and my head would have been facing directly to the door, like the back of my head.
Yeah.
And the door was open, and I was watching TV, and then next minute something grabbed my ponytail and yanked it. I mean, yanked it to the point where I was nearly off the sofa. And I sprinted up the stairs, banging on my sister's door, going, Ashley!
Help! Help! Then also your auntie had a nervous breakdown looking after you.
In my house, yeah. I was about 10.
Yeah.
I was young. And my dog had just given birth to puppies, and my mum and dad were away for the weekend, so my auntie and my uncle came to stay to look after us. And we were in bed, and my auntie was in the kitchen, and she said she heard like this. It was almost as if somebody was standing at the top of the stairs with a massive bucket of water and poured it down the stairs. She says it was just this massive gush. And she was like, oh my god, is a pipe burst or something? So she went where she was sitting, her back to her right hand side was the door. So she went to go get up to turn round to go into the hallway, and as she turned round, she says there was a man taking up the whole doorway, standing, and he was all in black, and he was wearing a hat, and from that point.
Yeah, she went mad.
Mad.
I'm not even joking. Like, she went, like, hyper... Like, she believes she's, like, a healer and stuff. Like, I mean...
Yeah, like, she had a nervous breakdown over
Yeah,
it.
she goes into all that, like, gypsy magic and stuff like that. We're not making that up.
She had a proper nervous breakdown over it, and because of that, she's gone all into spiritual things.
Yeah. So there you guys go. That's some spooky stories we've got. There's actually there's a stupid amount more spooky stories.
Yeah.
But we'll save that for the next video. But you guys got to give us some spooks
Of your own.
And then we'll
Let us know.
Yeah, and we'll do that as a video. I think that would be a bit of fun for Halloween special. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna end it here.
All right. See you guys later. Check out
everything that we've mentioned.
everything
All the
we've
links
said,
down below. Check out all that.
Share all that jazz, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.